We thought hiring John Harbaugh was the headline. We were wrong. Tonight, the Cleveland Browns just pushed all their chips into the middle of the table. According to multiple insiders, Jimmy Haslam has officially offered Deion Sanders the largest contract in coaching history to come to Cleveland. We aren't talking about head coach. We are talking about a partnership. The offer is rumored to be $30 million a year for Deion to become the assistant head coach and personal mentor to Shedeur. Haslam is trying to build the Avengers of football. He wants Harbaugh's brain and prime swagger. The NFL league office is terrified. They believe this is a backdoor way to funnel money to Shedeur's family outside of a salary cap. I have the audio from an anonymous NFC general manager who says he will sue the league if this hire is allowed. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. You need to hear the panic in their voices. Click that button. Let's talk about the money. Here is the offer that could change the NFL forever. While the rest of the NFL world is distracted by playoff races and standard coaching carousel rumors, something is happening in Cleveland that is about to shake the foundation of professional football to its absolute core. We aren't talking about a simple trade or a standard hiring. We are talking about a move so bold, so expensive, and so unprecedented that it has rival front offices scrambling to figure out if it's even legal. Sources are whispering that the Cleveland Browns have put a plan in motion to reunite the most famous family in football, and they are willing to break the bank to do it. The rumor? An offer to Deion Sanders that would make him one of the highest-paid coaches in NFL history, handing him the keys to the franchise with one singular goal: to build a dynasty with his son, Shedeur Sanders, at quarterback. This isn't just a headline. It is a complete paradigm shift in how the NFL operates. And to understand why this is happening, we have to go back to the moment that changed everything on the field last Sunday. It started like any other disappointing Sunday in Cleveland. The Browns were scraping by, the offense was stalling, and the season felt like it was slipping away. Then, in a split second, the timeline shifted. Starting quarterback Dillon Gabriel took a massive hit, instantly going into concussion protocol. Suddenly, the cameras swung to the sideline. There, holding his helmet, was Shedeur Sanders, the fifth-round pick who had been waiting in the shadows, silenced by critics and humbled by his draft slide. As he jogged onto the field to face a vicious Ravens defense, the football world held its breath. But thousands of miles away, at a youth clinic in Boulder, Colorado, the man they call Kemp's Prime was falling apart. Deion Sanders has built an entire empire on being untouchable. He is prime time. He is the man with the golden sunglasses and the unshakable confidence. But when he got the news that his son was taking his first NFL snap, that persona cracked. He couldn't speak. He later admitted to reporters that he was weeping so hard he had to wave his own son, Deion Jr., away. He couldn't handle the emotion. This wasn't just a dad watching a game. This was the culmination of a lifetime of sacrifice. He knows how brutal the NFL is because he conquered it himself. Watching his son step into that arena, unprepared and under fire, broke him down in a way we have never seen. And it was in that moment of vulnerability that the seeds for this massive rumor were likely planted. Deion realized he couldn't protect his son from Colorado anymore. Unless, of course, he made a move. But let's get to the business side of this, because the numbers coming out of Cleveland are staggering. We aren't talking about a standard rookie coach contract. The leaks suggest that the Browns are preparing a financial package that rivals the gods of coaching: Bill Belichick and Andy Reid money. We are talking about a salary that shatters the ceiling, fully guaranteed, with incentives that would make a CEO blush. But the money is actually the least interesting part of the deal. The real currency here is power. The report indicates that this offer includes total control over football operations. Deion wouldn't just be the head coach, he would be the de facto general manager. He would have the final say on who gets drafted, who gets cut, and who gets paid. He would have a budget for assistant coaches that is essentially a blank check, allowing him to hire the best offensive coordinators and defensive minds money can buy. This is the kind of power that coaches dream of but never get. Why would Cleveland offer this? Because they know that Deion Sanders doesn't need the money. To get him to leave the kingdom he built in Colorado, you have to offer him the one thing he craves more than cash: the ability to do things his way, without interference. And that is exactly what is on the table. You might be asking yourself, why would Cleveland do this? Isn't it too risky? To understand the answer, you have to look at the graveyard of careers that is the Cleveland Browns. This organization is desperate. They are beyond desperate. They have tried everything. They have hired the smart Ivy League coaches. They have hired the disciplinarians. They have drafted Heisman winners, traded for veterans, and spent billions on renovations. And what do they have to show for it? Decades of misery. The safe choice has never worked in Cleveland. The traditional route has led to nothing but failure. The front office knows they are losing the fan base. They know that apathy is setting in. They need a jolt of electricity that is so powerful it restarts the heart of the entire city. Bringing in Deion Sanders isn't just a football move. It's a cultural resurrection. It signals to the world that the Browns are tired of being the laughingstock. It tells the fans, we are going to swing for the fences. If it fails, well, they were going to lose anyway. But if it works, if the Sanders magic translates to the NFL, they become legends. That is the calculation Jimmy Haslam and the front office are making. They are willing to risk the circus to get the ring. Now we have to address the elephant in the room. The critics are already sharpening their knives. The moment this news broke, the shouts of nepotism began to echo across social media. If Deion Sanders takes this job, the target on Shedeur's back doubles in size instantly. Every interception won't just be a rookie mistake. It will be evidence of daddy ball. Every sack will be blamed on the father's scheme. The pressure would be suffocating. We saw glimpses of this at Colorado, where people accused Deion of favoring his sons. But the NFL is a different beast. The media coverage is 24/7, and it is ruthless. However, Coach Prime has a rebuttal for this, and it is surprisingly logical. He has stated repeatedly that he knows how to separate the father from the coach. He talks about how during pre-game warm-ups he can be dad, but the moment the whistle blows, he is strictly business. And let's look at the facts. Shedeur Sanders earned his spot. He played behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football history, and still put up elite numbers. He took a beating that would have retired most quarterbacks, and kept getting up. He slid to the 5th round not because of talent, but because teams were scared of the Sanders circus. Deion believes, and frankly, he might be right, that the only person who truly understands Shedeur's potential and how to unlock it, he views Shedeur not as his son, but as the best quarterback in the draft class, who was overlooked by a league that is afraid of personality. The biggest hurdle to this entire scenario is what Deion would be leaving behind. In Boulder, he is a king. He revived a dead program, won games nobody thought he could win, and created a culture where celebrities and recruits flock to the sidelines. He answers to no one. He has full autonomy. Leaving that to go to the NFL, where owners meddle and the media is hostile, is a massive risk. Why would he do it? The answer lies in his competitive DNA. Deion Sanders has never been one to settle. He conquered the NFL as a player. He conquered HBCU football. He conquered the Power 5. The only mountain left to climb is the NFL head coaching ranks. It is the final validation. If he wins a Super Bowl as a head coach, he enters a stratosphere of sporting legends that is completely empty. But more importantly, it goes back to the family. Coach Prime is a father first. If he truly believes that the Browns organization, left to its own devices, will ruin his son's career, like they have ruined so many others, he might feel a moral obligation to step in. He isn't going to Cleveland for the weather. He's going there to ensure the Sanders legacy doesn't die in the AFC North. One of the biggest questions skeptics raise is whether Deion's style will work on grown men. It's one thing to yell at a 19-year-old college kid who needs a scholarship. It's another thing to motivate a 30-year-old veteran making $15 million a year, who has his own brand to worry about. The rah-rah speeches might fall flat in a professional locker room, but this perspective ignores who Deion Sanders is. He isn't just a hype man. He is a gold jacket Hall of Famer. When Deion Sanders walks into a room, he commands respect, not because he is loud. Every player on that Browns roster grew up idolizing him or idolizing the players who idolized him. He has the credibility that college coaches like Urban Meyer lacked. When Deion tells a cornerback how to play coverage, they listen, because he is the greatest to ever do it. When he tells a receiver how to run a route, they respect it. The transition would be difficult, sure. He would have to adjust his tone. But the idea that he would lose the locker room is foolish. If anything, players want to play for a star. They want to be part of the show. And Deion guarantees that the spotlight will always be on them. Finally, we cannot ignore the sheer business logic of this move. The NFL is an entertainment product, and business is booming. Hiring Deion Sanders immediately turns the Cleveland Browns into the most valuable television product in the league. Merch sales would explode. Ticket prices would skyrocket. In an era where attention is the new currency, Deion Sanders is a mint. For an owner like Jimmy Haslam, who has watched his investment stagnate in mediocrity, the financial upside is blinding. Even if they go 8-9, they will be the most talked about 8-9 team in the history of sports. But Deion isn't interested in being a sideshow. He wants to win. And he knows that with the salary cap space the Browns have, combined with his recruiting ability, which translates to free agency pitches, he can stack the roster. Imagine Deion Sanders sitting in a living room with a top free agent. Who is saying no to Coach Prime? The recruiting advantage alone could overhaul the roster in a single offseason. So, here is where we stand. A rookie quarterback trying to prove he belongs. A father watching from afar, tears in his eyes, knowing he has the power to change everything. And a franchise so desperate for a win that they are willing to hand over the keys to the kingdom. The offer is reportedly real. The interest is reportedly mutual. The only thing left is for someone to sign the dotted line. If this happens, it will be the biggest experiment in NFL history. It could be a spectacular disaster that sets the franchise back another decade. Or it could be the start of the most exciting dynasty football has ever seen. But one thing is for certain. If Deion Sanders walks onto that sideline in Cleveland, nobody is going to be changing the channel. What do you think? Is this a genius move by the Browns, or are they setting themselves up for a chaotic failure? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on this developing story as it happens, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You aren't going to want to miss what happens next.